Hello, and welcome to another episode of Automate Office Work. I'm your host, Justin. Today's topic is how to start an automation company with my guest, Masai Brown Andrews. Welcome, Masai. How are you
Justin,
doing today?
thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be on.
My pleasure. All right. So tell me, how far along are you in creating your own automation company?
Yeah, so I would say I started working with, well, let me start from the beginning. I started doing general automation work. I think how anybody, kind of gets their foot in the door of just take any project from anybody that needs anything automated or anything AI, right? So did that, probably started with that. If now is October, probably July of last year, probably. So that makes what, about 15 months probably that I'm in
Mhm.
this. But started working with law firms beginning of this year, February of this year. So that makes, what is that, about 8 months, I think now, if my math is all right. Working with
Wow.
law firms. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm at now.
Wow. How did you get your first law firm client, or what led you to law firms?
Yeah, it's a good question. Is it because it's if you don't have a way in, it's very difficult to get in,
Hmm.
because lawyers only trust lawyers. They have very specific certain regulations about how they work and all that kind of stuff, right? So I was fortunate in that my mother, who has passed now, but my mother was a lawyer, and then also my godmother is a lawyer, and she was my first client. And so having
Oh,
that saved me a lot of headache of in terms of getting in the legal industry.
so start with people you know.
Completely, completely. And
Great advice.
there's also a little bit of grace, right? Because in your first project, you're still figuring stuff out. Timelines aren't going to be perfect. Delivery's not going to be perfect. So if you can work with someone that you know is probably best for the first couple projects.
Ah, very nice.
Yep.
I've also found that for myself, start with your first clients are the people that you know as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had the benefit that I was actually working as a lawyer. I worked in a corporation for 10 years. And
Hmm.
so my network of people that I know is quite huge.
Right.
People come, people go over the years, they leave to other companies. I find that when you tell people you do automation, it's kind of difficult for them to grasp, like, well, what does automation mean? And the word magic often comes up. Like,
Yeah. Sure.
I can quickly just say, I do magic. People often don't believe that. They think, oh, that's just marketing. But
Yeah.
people who know me, who have experienced it, they're like, yeah, that guy does magic. So
Yeah.
they're my first clients. And then they introduce me to the rest of the people in their company. And then we expand like that.
Yeah. Completely. What's that? You know that famous quote? It's any science significantly advanced or any science advanced enough is appears to be magic. I think is the quote.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Yeah.
I think that's Arthur C. Clarke, sci fi
Potentially.
writer.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Uh, very nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
it's interesting. I don't want not to cut you off, but I was just in a workflow earlier for a client
mhm.
who is doing they're processing documents, right? And they're used to kind of manually going through and processing everything, looking over stuff, finding that stuff, and putting it in an Excel sheet. And the automation is where they can literally click a button, stuff runs in the back end, and then all the fields get just populated, right? And if you don't see the back end, it looks like you just click a button and then stuff just magically pops up in fields. So it's kind of cool to see the front end aspect of it.
There is a, it does look magical.
It does for sure, for sure.
Let's see. How did you get started with automating? I'm assuming you started with zero skills, and then you gradually worked your way up.
Yeah,
And maybe you even had some doubt when you started your company. You're like, I don't know everything, but I can definitely learn. I've learned some already, so I can keep learning, and we'll make this work.
yeah, completely, completely. So the first things I did were chatbots. Was a basic sort of chatbot where you attach an LLM to a knowledge base and you put on someone's website, right? So that people, if customers come to the website, they can ask questions. You can capture leads that way, or it's a really basic chatbot stuff. But that stuff gets kind of boring pretty quickly. There's only so much you can do with chatbots, customer support. You can do like lead capture stuff, but there's only so much you can do with chatbots. So I think also the way my brain is wired, I'm interested in automating processes. I want to figure out like how is something being done now, and then can we just basically automate that entire thing from end to end. So from
Uh-huh.
there, I went into fell down the rabbit hole, sort of working different automation platforms. Also, the part that I enjoy is thinking about. It's almost like the a little bit of business acumen in it as well. You know, thinking about how processes work and how that can then be transferred to technology. So did that, did a couple different platforms, make.com, ended up on N8N as my main platform. Also got back hands-on keyboard writing code again, so Python and JavaScript stuff. Um, and then yeah, just keep learning. It's always it's a continual learning process, right? Because you're always dealing with different platforms, different processes.
Hmm.
Obviously, with AI, the speed that AI is moving, you're working with different LLMs now, different wrappers on top of LLMs that can give you more capabilities. So that's kind of hopefully that answered your question at least a little bit.
Uh-huh. Hmm. Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a there's so many questions that we have when we're new business owners. Like even not having everything planned out. Like you even mentioned that you kind of have to have some flexibility. You have
Completely.
to have people. Some of my best clients are people who I describe them as explorers. We're like they ask me, can we do this? And I'm like, I don't know for sure, but let's
Yeah.
try it out.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
see what we can get it to do. And
Yep.
then they get excited because they actually feel like they're building it with me.
Yeah.
They feel like they're building because they basically are. They're building their business.
That's exactly it. Have you ever you've heard of the book Crossing the Chasm?
Hmm.
Jeffrey
Hmm.
Moore? Yeah. So it's kind of the sort of the earlier people are in the adoption cycle, I found the easier they are to work with, right? So the best clients have been people who have kind of tried to automate some things themselves and gotten stuck at some point.
Ah.
So those have been really good clients for me because they understand the process, they understand the hiccups you have
Hmm.
along the way, right? Whereas sort of the later that people are in that adoption curve, the less patience they have for, it's technology being technology, things going wrong and, you know, um, maybe projects taking a little bit longer, that sort of stuff. But I found exactly
Hmm.
what you're saying, though. Explorers tend to be the best clients for me also.
I had one lady. She started teaching herself. She was watching tutorials on YouTube, and she started building her own system. And she got about halfway done, and then she was like stuck. And
Yeah,
then she heard about me that I do magic. And my first conversation with her, she said, "You are the person I've been looking for."
right,
That
exactly.
was such a great project.
Yeah, yeah,
She
yeah.
could tell me exactly what she needed. She just didn't know how to do it. And
Right.
and when I told her like, okay, we're going to connect this database with this database, her next question, you want me to do that for you? I'm like, whoa, I've never had a client offer to build with me. That's incredible. And then
Yeah,
I said, of course, no, no, you're paying me. I'm going to be the one doing
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. No, completely. No, yeah, those are great for sure. Yeah, because it's one a degree of knowledge, but I think more so it's the enthusiasm and the investment. Like how much people care about it, how much people want to
Hmm.
know how this stuff works. The more invested and the more enthusiastic somebody is about this stuff, the easier they are to work with usually.
Hmm. I think you just hit on something else that I think about often, and that is that knowledge is actually not the most important thing in this space. The
Yeah,
most important thing is your imagination, your ability to ask the right questions, because we all have Google, we all have these LLMs now. Anybody can get the knowledge. It's asking the right questions. It's
yeah,
having that imagination of what's possible. That's what I bring, and that's really my value that I bring to my clients is
yeah,
I can be your imagination of what's possible.
yeah,
Let's go do it.
completely. Yeah, because it's not just connecting nodes, it's not just writing lines of code either. It's a pretty creative process, really, thinking about how to get these things built from end to end.
It does feel creative. I
Yeah,
feel like an artist.
I
I
just
feel
say,
like I'm creating some, and then when I show a solution to a client, it's kind of like introducing them to my baby.
yeah, exactly.
I brought this into the world.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. That is what it is because it's creative. It's something that didn't exist before. Now you've built it, now it exists, and it helps somebody
Uh-huh.
out. You know? Yeah, I would say it's super creative. I think.
Another thing that I think we do is we take chaos and we turn it into simplicity.
Yeah,
So if you can show somebody a solution that is completely beautiful and elegant and just simple, like It looks like it took no work to do, but actually, those are the ones that you spend the most time on.
Yeah, completely, completely. Yeah, because exactly, that's exactly it. That's
Uh,
that's that's exactly it. Taking because a lot of times you're taking data from different places, and just the other thing that's interesting. Also, I was talking to a friend of mine who's actually in the Netherlands who runs an AI agency. No, he's Dutch. He's not in the Netherlands anymore. He doesn't live in the Netherlands anymore. But he was saying that the interesting thing or the somewhat difficult part of working with businesses is that for a lot of them, you're trying to automate a process that doesn't exist yet. Like a lot of them haven't spent the
uh,
time to map their processes or write SOPs or that sort of stuff, right? So you have to, you're not just building an automation, it's like you have to figure out and actually map their process for them
uh-huh.
before you actually build the automation.
I call this the AI paradox. That
Yeah.
most people want to go straight to AI when they don't have their workflow and they don't have structured, organized, historic data. And I tell people you have to have these two things for AI to work.
Yeah.
In my work, I don't go straight to AI. We start with the basics. I'm really focused on the processes and
Mhm.
like what is it that we need to get done because you don't have to go straight to technology. Actually, it's the process underlying it that is more important, and then you can bring in whatever technology works. Like you don't have to go straight for a hammer. It's not
Yeah.
like everything is a nail. You can use whatever you can use manual, you can use traditional technology, if this then that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I tell people once you have these things in place, you don't actually need AI. You could just stay with the simple stuff. But at that point, then you have a choice. Do you want to pay the extra money? Does it make sense to pay $1 million just to save like 1 second of time?
Yeah.
Then you can actually evaluate it and,
Yeah.
and use the appropriate things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the order that I've seen is people, process, technology. Right. Starts with people, then you build a process, and then once you have those two things aligned, you bring technology into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are you doing with what I call the feast and the famine? Like when you have your own business, you're out, you have to go hunting. You have to go find the projects. It
Yeah.
takes time.
Completely. Are you a team of one? How many? Do you have developers also?
I'm a team of one.
Of one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. So that's yeah. It's
Army of one.
an army of one. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because you're running multiple businesses at once, right? Because client
Uh-huh.
acquisition is one business, and then development is another business, right? And
Uh-huh.
you
I'm
basically
doing my own marketing, my own
have
networking,
your marketing,
doing
your
my own taxes, my invoices,
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so yeah, it's definitely it's not.
doing my own podcast.
Have you thought about hiring at all or no?
I have thought about it a little bit. I do have people reach out to me quite often, especially young graduates. Uh, India is a very popular country that people reach out to me from. I
Yeah,
am very hesitant because I see my value is not necessarily cost savings. My value is the level of quality.
right.
And so, if I was, I'm not disparaging people from India. It's actually, if I was to hire anybody, I actually have my doubts. Like, how good of coders are other people? I know myself. I
Yeah,
don't know other people. So if I was to bring in somebody just so I could save some money and expand the business, my customers might start asking, "Well, why are we hiring this guy when we could just go straight to the low wage coders?
sure.
Why don't we just hire them?" So yeah, they're my competition, and yet I don't need to compete on cost. So I really want to keep the quality high, and it's hard.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
How
know.
about you?
Have I hired or thought about hiring?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm I'm having that debate in my mind right now of trying to figure that out. I think pretty soon I'm gonna have to bring someone on to help me with some of the back end stuff.
Mm.
Um,
Maybe the meeting scheduling, the secretarial stuff,
Potentially, but I think that's yeah, it's just
paperwork.
figuring that out. It's figuring out exactly what to hire for and who to
Uh,
hire.
another point person that you might think about bringing on is somebody who can do discovery with
Yeah,
your clients to actually find the problems that need to be solved because that's a lot of interviewing.
yep,
I did actually build my own product. It's called Ideas Platform.
Mhm.
I'm going to be releasing it in the Microsoft Store because I work on SharePoint a lot. So
Mhm.
I created this module that a company could buy and just put on there, and then they collect ideas from their whole department. And anybody who wants to participate comes on and they start mapping out the problem and what does the solution look like. They do voting, they subscribe to say how many people are interested in participating on this. So just organically, you could get these problems all mapped out. So then like a manager of that department has some really nice data. They've got like 50 possible projects. Here are the top 3. We've got it mapped out so they're simple. We know the solution, what it would look like, and we have 50 people who are invested in it that if we put it in place, they'll adopt it. So they
Yeah.
could take that to their general counsel, and then their general counsel would reach out to me and be like, here you go. Here's our 3 things. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
No discovery needed. So yeah, there are ways to think about this.
Have you experimented with process mining and Microsoft at all or no?
No, no, no. I created my own process mining.
Yeah.
I think deeply about processing. I actually created my own like process mapper, and it takes all of the elements of a process and it puts it into JSON, a data object. I then collected a whole bunch of these from a company, and lots of processes connect from one to the other to the other, and then processes are nested inside also. So you can actually identify, like if a salesperson says, for me to have a contract, I just ask legal and legal gives me the contract. And then I go and, make my sale or whatever. The
Yeah.
sales doesn't know all of that nested process of making a contract. But now we have it identified that there is a step. So then the AI could identify that, hey, we need to go to legal and ask them, what does it mean? What are the inputs that you need to create a contract? What are your steps? And then legal might say, yeah, for certain types of contracts, for certain special clauses, sometimes we need to go out to outside law firms. And so then that's another nested process. What do you need to give to the outside? So I was able to create this. I fed this huge JSON object to ChatGPT, and I asked it, what is this? And it told me, like, this is a huge nested process of how a business works. And I was able to ask it, like, what are the obvious ways to make this more efficient? And it identified, it said, like, here, a person is sending a random email to somebody else. Instead, there should be a form in place so they can pass on the exact data points the next person needs, kind of stuff. So it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I think AI and discovery is really useful because I almost tell everybody the best thing you can do is just go to whatever LLM you use and just turn on the microphone and talk about your business for 5 or 10 minutes and let it map it for you and let it give you, you know, the best next steps for you to take. I think is a
Mhm.
really first step.
Yeah, I'm always telling people don't use AI to get answers, like not directly to the answers, but ask it what is the process of how I could find the answer. And then once you have that process, now you're going to get the same answer over and over and over again. If you just keep asking it for the answer to it starts hallucinating.
Sure.
It gives you different answers all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No. 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 You're right. You're right. So are you doing more AI work now or no?
So I don't go straight to AI. A lot of my clients, they come to me and say, we tried AI. It didn't work. Like 95% of AI projects are failing, according to MIT. So then I tell them it's not the technology's fault. It's probably you don't have your basics. You don't have your workflow mapped out, and we don't have a bunch of organized data because you don't program AI in the traditional way. You have to
Mhm.
train it off of
Yeah.
structured data. So if you don't have any structured data, you can't train the thing. So I meet with them, map out their process. I work in Office 365, so we just use very simple little workflows, exactly where they are, like put in forms and buttons that like makes the data flow to the next thing. I'm not doing any data extraction because like I find it's a waste of time. Like for me to mine somebody's emails, it's a bunch of garbage. So instead, I say, let's stop the emails. Instead of people emailing you, we're going to put a form in place, and they're going to pick It's like form picker kind of stuff. Now you don't need AI to extract the data points. Now you know you're getting the exact data points you need every single time. If we had just left it as a random email, first of all, you don't know that they're emailing the right person. And even if you get it to the right person, what's in this email? Bunch
Yeah.
of garbage and it's missing stuff. So now you have to have weeks of conversation back and forth. Like this is just a giant waste of time. So yeah, I have found that a lot of this doesn't need AI. I'm also not focused on purely legal issues, right? Like I'm not at the point of like let's review your contract. I'm at the point of like how do we generate this contract? How do we know who is doing the next step? So I'm doing the administrative work
Yeah.
around it. I find that that's like 85% of the work. The actual then like negotiating and reviewing clauses,
Yep.
that's the cherry on the top.
Yeah.
That's the shiny thing everybody wants to go to.
Yeah, for sure.
But
For sure. That's, hey, thanks for having me on, man. I know I do have to run in a couple of minutes. Is there any
all right.
last questions? Any last anything you want to touch?
Um, let's see. Do you have any quick dreams of or where you're seeing that we're going to? Are we getting there fast? Or are you saying we're going there slowly, but we will get there eventually?
I think it goes like hype with AI hype, and then the valley when people realize there's a bunch of work you have to do to make it useful, and then eventually at some point we get to the potential of the technology where people take the time to actually implement it in the correct way and build the correct frameworks around it to make it as as useful as it has the potential to be.
Ah, so we have a lot of business left, those
Yeah,
of us who have automation companies.
I think so for a while. Yeah,
All right. And I
yeah,
get the feeling from you that you enjoy it. You're loving this. You would encourage more people to start these kinds of businesses.
completely. It's a lot of fun. If you like this stuff, it's a lot of fun. If you
Uh,
don't like it, then don't force yourself to do it.
I think that also there's a place for everybody at different skill levels. I imagine that there are people watching this or listening to this, and they're thinking, well, I don't have any skills. Well, yes, you do. You probably have experience working in an industry. And like Masai said, you don't have to go straight to technology. We need people who know the processes and we need you to help these companies map it out. Then once you have that map, you actually don't have to know the technology yourself. You could come to Masai or to somebody like me, or you could even go to the IT department that is there. We need people who are working at the process level first.
Yeah, completely, completely. And I agree with you 1,000%. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
Well,
man.
thank you very much. All right.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll be in touch.
All right. See
All
you.
right. Take care.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
Nice meeting you.
All right. This has been another episode of Automate Office Work, and I wish everybody happy automating.